Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hunted Podcast with myself, AJ Cox. Next to me, as always, is Levi Mason, Chris Donovan, and Brett Curry. If you want to see what we're up to, go follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find us on all of them just by typing in the Hunted Podcast. While you're there, you can go through and see what we got going on as far as some merch. I think that's what the kids call it. We have some stickers, tumblers, koozies for sale. We're going to go through and try to put a pre-order out at some point to go through. If you are interested in something and we don't have it, we'll do our best to absolutely get it to you. Actually, we'll probably be doing that here before too long because shit, boys, it's fall's on its way real quick.
Yeah.
Then we'll try to get some sweatshirts going through by doing that. So just go through. Like I said, you can either reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. Or just come through and talk to one of us, shoot us a text, call, whatever you want to do. We'll do our absolute best to go through and get that stuff to you. So right now we're going to go into our first responders shout out, moment of silence. Thank you to these wonderful people that go through and do this day in and day out. If you are a first responder of any kind, military, police, fire, paramedic, whatever, go through, let us know. If you got a family member or somebody that does all that stuff, absolutely go through, reach out to one of us, we'll put it down. We really want to go through and kind of do, like more specific thank yous to people, so absolutely please feel free to go through and reach out to one of us for that. It's one of those things to where without these people going in and doing this stuff day in, day out, our world would be even more crazy than what it is, if you can believe that at all. So what we like to do is at this part is we like to give a little small moment of silence for those that have made the ultimate sacrifice, be it through doing it on the job or, if it was your uncle that passed away overseas or on the job, great-grandfather, something like that. It's just our small little way of saying thank you. So we're going to do a little moment of silence here, and we'll be right back in just a few seconds. All right, we are back. So if you've listened to our last couple episodes, we kind of sort of get talking like we usually do, and I forgot to go through and do sponsors until the very, very end, so I'm going to knock out just a few of these real quick, so then at least only a few of them will be mad at us and not all of them. As always, we're brought to you by Wreck Broadheads. Most definitely go through and check them out. Let them know, or actually when you're there checking them out, go through and get some broadheads from them and tell them that you heard of them through us. Matt is a great dude. He's got some videos on there of how durable and strong these heads are. We know from experience. I mean, these suckers they're damn near bulletproof. Levi killed what'd you kill? Like 2 or 3 deer last year with the same broadhead. Didn't even change the blades or nothing, right? Yeah. So they're absolutely 100% rock solid. So make sure you go through, check them out. Like I said, let them know that you found them through us. And then we got Dominant Strands Bowstrings with Lewis. Absolutely go through, get a hold of him. If you're wanting some new strings done, you better get a hold of him now, because just like everybody else, if you're wanting strings here come fall, everybody else is too. And you'll get them, but you're not going to get them as quick as you need, and then all that good stuff. So make sure you go through, get a hold of Lewis, great guy. Let him know also that you heard of him through us. And then we got ECW Hunting Calls. Go through, get a hold of Jeff, and let him know that you heard of him through us. Jeff goes through, man, he knocks out some great solid products, turkey calls, buck calls, goose calls. I believe he even kind of dabbles in some other like pens and shaving equipment and a whole bunch of other stuff. Does a whole bunch of handmade wooden stuff. It's awesome. Go through, check them out. I can't wait to see. Usually about every year come fall, he's always got something that's a little different, and he usually kind of lets us get kind of firsthand knowledge of them, and they're usually pretty sweet. And then here, before too long, we're hopefully going to be putting out some Backwoods Premium Wildlife products. I actually just went through and about a month ago planted some of my beans and corn, and if you're lucky enough to have an area like we're at up here, man, we've had plenty of rain and everything, so my corn and beans are doing great. My corn is almost 4 feet high already, and some farmers that got out and did that before me, it's already 6 foot tall, so I can't wait to dabble in and throw in some backwoods there. and spice it up even a little bit more. And speaking of the soybeans and all that stuff, I forgot, but I told Pioneer Seed that I'd go through and give them a good shout out. Didn't really know what I wanted to do as far as beans and corn, so I went there and talked with them a little bit, and they got me 100% hooked up with the right stuff for my beans and corn. So if you ever kind of wonder what you might want as far as beans and corn, I would strongly suggest go through and check out Pioneer Seeds. Oh my God. I keep saying this over and over, but I'm going to have one of you assholes do this the next time at some point, because that is just too damn much.
You're used to talking a lot.
I am, but believe it or not, I do get a little winded, get a little tired and all that. So on this episode here, we actually have a guest, and we are very, very happy to have him here. It is Jesse Hines with Antleridge, right? That's how you go through and say that?
Yep, that'd be it.
Perfect. So he's going to go through, tell us what he's kind of got going on the side. If you're not familiar with Jesse, he's a hell of a hunter. We've all known him for a few years now. He's nice enough to go through and actually, be a little sponsorship for us. He goes through and makes these hats and dibble dabbles in that. So before we get too far into that, I'll just kind of turn this over to Jesse and let him give us kind of a little background on kind of what he's doing with his hats and things like that.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say thanks for having me. And Chris, this place is freaking sweet. I've obviously never been here before, but deer and turkeys all over the place, so it's badass. But
thank you.
Yeah, so last year, I, like everybody else, the inflation with, our lovely president, prices and everything just keep going up. So I decided I just needed to supplement my income on something. And I've been wanting to do it for a few years. My wife does T-shirts and tumblers and all that stuff for like Scenic Drive or whatever. And I'd been decided I wanted to do something. And finally I just bit the bullet and bought a laser engraver and just started doing leather patch hats. And eventually I want to work my way into doing other things. But for now, sticking with hats. And it's been great. It's been way more than I anticipated off the start. I had a goal for this year on hats I wanted to sell, and I've already doubled it. So,
no shit.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
it's been great. So if you've got a business and you need some hats for, or you see a hat online and you like the idea, or you have an idea of a hat, reach out to me. I have a Facebook page or my personal page, and I can probably do it for you. So
can people come in and kind of say, hey, I got a ballpark idea of what this is, and do you have the ability to go through and kind of manipulate and move and come up with plans for them, or do they need to say, hey, this is 100% of what I want, and then you just kind of take it from there?
Both. So if you have if you see a hat you like a design or something, I can take that and put it straight into my program and do it that way. Mm-hmm. Or I've designed a few hats, or I can just buy a print and take it like from Etsy or something and bring it into the program and do it that way. So I have the ability of doing some manipulation, but a lot of them is just taking them straight from a email like Levi sent me and doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Jesse was nice enough. He went through and he made some for us, so we're wearing them now. I mean, they're sharp. I mean, it's one of those things to where there's definitely looks like you have to almost have the right program, the knowledge, and the ability to go through. And I mean, these things look like they came right from factory. And like I said, we're very happy to have you aboard. So, we talking about first fishing. What the hell are we talking about first?
I don't care what we talk about.
I know you don't care about nothing ever. You're not very helpful. Yeah, I guess we'll just jump into fishing, because I think you and Brett have been out there doing your little tournaments and all that.
Yeah, we've been doing some of that.
I've been trying.
Well, you've been going to the tournaments, right?
Yeah, I've been showing up.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been owning Brett's ass out there.
Yeah. That's no joke.
Well, he didn't show up last week, and it's a good thing.
I was in Tennessee.
It sucked, so
Well, did you fish in Tennessee?
I looked at the fish
See,
in the streams.
talked about it.
Seen some bears. That was cool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, too. That was cool.
No, the fishing thing, water warmed up, everything's moved back out. Flatheads are still spawning right now. I know that I got buddies that are still pulling them out of barrels and holes and stuff like that. And one of my buddies actually yesterday went down and fished at Little Swan and caught a shit ton of crappies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, out. So they were out off the ledges, so they were out deeper. But Bass fishing, hit and miss.
Hit and miss. I mean, I know enough to go fish and enjoy it and this and that, but I'm not by any means good enough to go into a tournament. But like with all this rain off and on, I mean, does that mess with them at all? I mean, cooling the water, warming it up, or
like we fished Oak Run Thursday night in a tournament, and the week before was incredible. And so Thursday we had that little, I guess you called a cold front come through, and then Oak Run had a big rain last week. They had 2 inches, over 2 inches. Well, it went from everybody weighing in having 15, 16, 17 pound bags to Thursday night, 13 pounds won it, 12 something was second,
really
11 something was third. And, you know, we've been doing really well, and what we were doing just wasn't working. I think we only caught like 8 fish all night. Horrible.
interesting.
So that little bit of a cold front, enough to just
Made the difference.
tweak him. Yep.
So if he's doing that bad, how bad are you then doing, Brett? If he's saying working on 8, what are you coming in with, like half?
Well, you keep 5 fish.
Okay.
And then, but no, I mean, I've been coming in with limits. I'll probably get top 5, but except the week before last, I think I came in with 4 fish. But the week before that one, we had a big storm, and we had a 4.5 pound bass in the boat. And then I was just like, you know what? It's not worth being out with the lightning. So we called it, but we would have won that night.
Really?
Yeah. But, I mean, if we would have caught 4 more fish, we would have won. But
Nah, you should have just Caddyshacked it. I don't think the heavy stuff's coming for till later. It just kept going, right?
I kept looking at the radar, and we pulled the boat out, or just docked it. And I told my buddy Mason, I was like, well, let's look at the radar, and maybe we'll just go back out there. And we looked, and there was like this little teeny tiny like spot where I could just have enough time to go get the boat and put on the trailer. And as soon as I stepped foot right on the boat, it just cut loose. And I'm like, it's like when you get so wet, you just get pissed off. That's how wet I got. I couldn't even see to get the boat onto the trailer on the ramp. I was trying to put on someone else's trailer, and the guy's like waving me off. I'm like, oh shit, that's not my truck. So I had to like back it off. But it was like coming down that bad I couldn't see. But
Yeah, they had over 2 inches just that night.
Yeah, that was bad.
I seen a bunch of videos.
That's crazy.
There was still there was 9 boats that night. So there was still guys that fished that whole sat on that fucking lake that whole
Dude, I can't
that
believe,
shit.
like I said, I've never did this before, but I know a couple people that have their boats and they do all this. Like how majorly like diehards they are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
not really die hard. It's just being pretty fucking stupid.
yeah.
well,
At that point, I mean,
When I seen the lightning strike and then everything went red, I'm like, yep, it's time to get the hell out of here.
yeah, I love to fish. I don't want to die doing it.
No.
Right.
I don't want to be struck by lightning.
right.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't blame you one
Yeah.
bit there. You do anything like that then, Jesse? Ever fish a
I'm
tournament?
not big into fishing. I got back. I bought my first fishing pole in about 15 years. A couple weeks ago, 'cause my son's 4, and I'm wanting to get him
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
there you
introduced
go.
to that
Like-
stuff. So I've been a couple times, but
Mm-hmm.
I can take fishing and leave it pretty quickly.
My thing is, I mean, I enjoy fishing during the summer and all that stuff as boys, but we need to go ice fishing though.
I do.
yeah.
I enjoy watching. I'm one of my best friend. He's big into the hand fishing stuff, and I go with him quite a bit. But I sit in the boat and watch.
Have you did that though? Have you actually went in there and put your hand down? On
I'm
that
not
stuff?
man enough to.
Dude, I did. I did that
I
one
mean, they're,
time.
they're pulling out 50 and 60 pounders, and have you seen me? I weigh like 150.
Well, shit, it's the same thing as like Chris over here, you know.
I'm pretty sure that they dragged my ass back in that hole. But
Yeah, I did it one time just because I just wanted to say I had the balls to do it one time. Dude, you're putting your
Nope.
more of like, I think I could do it if it's just like mental barrier of just sticking your hand somewhere you can't see.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't
and
know
going
about that.
underwater, just waiting to be,
Oh, yeah.
like you said, drug in, stuck.
It wouldn't be that bad if you found like a shallow hole and you knew one was up in there,
Right.
and nothing else.
Yeah.
I'd be all right.
No.
Have you seen? I think it's Tennessee or Arkansas or something like that, dude. They have like, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like 10, 20, 30 people every year die from that shit.
Oh yeah,
Because they put their arms underneath there, and then it gets moving around. The rock falls
Mm-hmm.
and catches their arm in it. Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
But I will say, yeah, it's awesome. It's a rush. I went through and was so proud of myself. But since I was the new guy, I was one that had to carry the stringer with all the fish in there.
Yep.
So I finally go through and balls up and put my hand underneath one and everything, and I get one, and I sit there and I look at my buddy, and I'm like, ugh, just enough, my lips are just above the water. I'm like, dude, I got one. Are you ready? And he's like, yeah. Dude, he comes back in there, reels around, feels in there, and he's down there for, dude, just no more than a snap. And he comes back up, and he's like, okay, you're good. I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like every other time, it's been taking us a few minutes to get these fish. And he's like, just let him go. You're fine. I'm like, dude, no. Like, dude, you're not fucking me with this. Like, you're going to let my first one go away. He's like, dude, you're fine. Just get up. It's like, all right, man. Dude, I stand up. And he's like, hey, dipshit, that was one of the ones that was on the line already. Dude, I was so happy, so stoked, and so pissed. And when he stuck his hand in there, he felt the line already in the fish's mouth. Like, you son of a
It's that when you're barrel fishing, like the flatheads, you're going in, keep your hand up high, rolling down and feeling. But when them catfish get in them barrels,
oh, dude, they smash you.
dude, like you're getting ready to stick your hand in, they'll come out and like hit you right in the arm, bite a hold of your arm. Those are the ones that tear you up more than a flathead does.
I'm sure we've all seen that chick, Hannah, whatever.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, she gets the living shit kicked out of her doing
yeah.
that. And she ain't nothing but a buck and some change either.
No, it's a brutal sport, really.
Oh, that's crazy. So, what else we got about this time of year? Like I said, I went out and did my beans and corn and everything. Any of you guys got any cameras out at all, watching any Velvet pictures or anything?
No,
I
actually
did, but I pulled mine.
I'm getting ready to go full board next week. And
Yeah, I see you got your whole stack back here sitting around.
yeah, we're gonna get everything put up next week, I think. And so I have seen some deer in the last couple weeks out here, and there's some good deer. Not just here, just going out in the evening scouting and bean fields and seen some really nice deer.
Yeah, it's
Extremely nice.
I'm excited between getting all that done and then I got cameras out already. Some bucks are showing up, and it's getting the blood pumping. It's, absolutely cannot wait. So then we can actually sit here and hopefully talk about actually something that we went through and actually killed instead of kind of like we did turkey season. Well, we had a whole bunch of swings and misses. It was great being out there,
That's all part of hunting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
At least I got to win the prize.
you did.
that is true. Did you hear, Jesse, that Chris over here he won the tournament?
Yeah.
Won the prize?
I won the tournament.
Won the 2-2 prize?
I don't think I'd heard that. I listened to the first part of the podcast. I guess maybe I missed that part.
So we went through and just between the four of us came up with something to sweeten the pot a little bit.
Right, with the 2-2
With
thing,
the 2-2
yeah.
thing, and we went through and came up with our own way to kind of say who won, who lost through Spurs side, all that good stuff. Yeah, he's got it right there.
Get it out. Look at that.
So he's got to go through and he's got to wear it just one time. We might make it a little bit worse later, but he's just got to wear that one time out in the stand. So the plan is to go through and have Chris, and hopefully one of us can go out there and film him and stuff, and he goes through and smashes a doe or something with that 2-2.
Or a booner.
I was gonna say, or we're all making the joke. Yeah, we're all making the joke that it's gonna be
200-inch deer.
Yeah, the 200-inch 2-2.
Like next year, it'll be like the thing. Everybody will be wearing them.
Yeah, then we're gonna have to go through and start selling those at like $130 a pop. Kind of like the Moon Guide thing. Like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
it's this. You need to have this to go through.
We could have Jesse come in and put a patch on.
Yeah,
and
we
say,
could do that.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh,
But I think on top of that, like this year, and listening to another podcast.
why would you do that?
Well, you got to every once in a while. And not stealing from them, because we kind of talked about this before, but the one thing that I didn't know out of this whole thing, talking about last winter, had 1 week of shit weather,
Right.
a very mild winter, very good on the deer. Coming into this spring, super warm, wet spring, everything grew up quick, zero stress on the deer except for all these fucking bugs this year. And then on top of that, something I did not know is in June, when these bucks are putting on all their time length, well, heat is crucial. I didn't know how much the June heat was crucial to putting on antler length. Well, so a lot of guys, if they got pen raised deer, they'll take them and stick them out in a pen with no shade. so it's full sun on the antlers because
Really?
this, all them big blood vessels going through there, the more heat, the more it's pumping nutrients into them horns. So in all reality, we're set up for probably the best year of growth out of our deer that we've probably ever seen.
Really? Just because,
We'll probably never see it again. The warmest winter we've ever had, unbelievable spring right out of the gate and never got cold again. Got all this heat in June, and I think we're going to see deer this year, like 4-year-olds. The next year, they're going to go downhill. Unless we have an exact same setup like this, we're going to have 4-year-olds this year. They're going to have to think about
just putting the hammer on them just because of their antler growth more so than.
do you shoot them?
Right.
Well, going back to like the antler growth thing, look at that roadkill buck out of Iowa a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Giant.
Yeah.
That thing was freaking huge already, and that was mid-June.
Yeah. Still had a month of growing.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I was leaving my in-laws a couple weeks ago, and they live out rural area over by Metamora in Washington, and I'm driving, and I seen this like 10-pointer, but he was already like 160 inches. I'm like, it's not even full grown yet, and that just when Chris said that about the antler growth, it just reminded me like, holy crap, that's insane.
Yeah.
No, I think we're setting ourselves up on a season like we've never seen. Like we're gonna when we start putting cameras up and start getting pictures, we're gonna go back and look and be like, we're not even have a fucking clue what deer it is, because that's how much antler they put on this year.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have a huge jump.
Huge. Yeah.
And I think going back like the 4-year-old thing, I think there's gonna be a lot of younger deer get shot just because of their antler size this year.
And in all reality, like that's where it's going to be really tough as a trophy hunter. And yes, always, no matter what, at least letting the deer live till they're 5. But this year, like as a 4-year-old, if it's a slammer, and you look into next season, like, okay, are we going to have this same growth season? We won't. There's no way we're going to set ourselves up like that 2 years in a row. And then he goes downhill next year, and then at a 6-year-old, do you shoot a 4-year-old this year because it's going to be the best growth season we probably ever had?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it all come down, I guess, to what your morals, your expectations is. Are you going for antlers? Are you going for age? Are you going for body size?
It's a tough call because, after this year, you might pass a 4-year-old that's, let's say, 175, 4-year-old that blew up, and then next year he might only be 165. Do you what do you do? I don't know.
Well, I know personally. It's going to be one of those things, like almost like a situational, how it comes in, how it goes, how's my season going? Because I know at my place, like, and I've told Levi this every year, like, dude, I got deer out there like right off the bat. There's good bucks, and then they just poof, they move, and then this and that, which I'm hoping putting the food out there, they come back and this and that, but it might be you got to go through and say, do I pull the trigger on this deer just because how years past go? They usually disappear. Or do I want to sit there and wait all year long for a possibility, like you're saying, of like shooting the biggest rack buck that I've ever had?
Yeah.
To me, it's going to, like I said, it's going to be a situational, how things going, this and that. Or, it might be one of those, man, piss on this, dude. I haven't pulled that trigger back. I haven't pulled my bow back in a while, so this sucker's going down,
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season. For one, our deer herd is by far the best we've had in over 20 years, no doubt. And
no shit.
Oh yeah.
God, how old are you?
I'm pretty old.
To go.
And number two, with everything lining up together, I think it's people start putting cameras out. People are going to be like pretty blown away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember the deer herd when I was 10, but I'm sure it was. So there's going to be a lot of Illinois pronghorn this year, big spike bucks.
Monster spikes. Yeah.
That's what I'm going after, boys.
I'll take one of those too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If he's old enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Jesse just went through and said if he's old enough. So therefore,
Everybody's got to have their own goal.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never shot a mature buck and you've only shot a couple bucks before, pound the first nice one that comes
Right.
by, or
Oh,
whatever gets you
absolutely.
excited.
Yep.
But I feel like when you start shooting, deer consistently or bigger deer consistently, you've got to eventually let those nice younger deer go.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple years ago, I shot a giant 4-year-old, and then last year I shot a below average 7-year-old, and I did not get nearly as excited with the 7-year-old, but he was still mature and he needed to go, and I shot him, and I don't regret it, but I almost regret it that I wasn't jacked as I was when I shot that
Right.
big 4-year-old.
Right. Because, I mean, it's one of those things, you take a kid out, dude, I don't care if it'd probably be pretty close. You shoot a big old another 200-incher or something like this, you're probably going to be just as excited for that as if she goes out there and shoots a 110.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm excited because, like, from what you're saying, these deer are going to get, antler size and this and that. But I'm 100% with Jesse here. It's going to be all, like what gets you going, what
Yeah.
gets you excited. I mean, it might be you go out there because, like, my property, I've had it for like 3 years now, something like that. And I've killed one good buck out there. It's awesome, great, and exciting. But now I'm trying to go a little further with it. You know what I mean? Do this and that, make it a little better, look for better deer, let them grow. And, because if you kill them, they can't get no bigger. So it's a lot of, like Jesse was saying, what you want, what you got looking for, what gets you excited.
And don't look at social media.
Right.
Because if you do that, everybody has killed one except for you, and you just get pissed off and you start pushing, and then you don't have fun.
Oh, yeah, we can go on with this social media bullshit
Yeah.
for the rest of the time. Because, I mean, it's...
Yeah, if you don't kill a 200-inch deer and put it on social media, you're nothing.
It didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's like I seen things on people. They'll put like, I'm on like those deer hunting forums on Facebook and all that stuff. And, guys will get excited. They'll post pictures of 120-inch deer hunting, and like they're pumped up. And then you got the bashers. It's just like, dude, if he's excited enough to post his picture, like leave the dude alone.
exactly.
Like we don't know. It could be his first deer. I mean, there could be a story behind it. But yeah, if you get your blood pumping, get excited.
That's
shoot
what it's
it.
all about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to say there was something I read an article, probably watched a video because I don't read.
Can't read.
Not that he don't read, he just can't.
I just can't. But I want to say it was something this dude went through, and it was something behind it. Like it was a decent deer, nothing spectacular, nothing. But he's proud as shit for it. Well, come to find out, I can't remember something to where it was. Like he had cancer or something for a little while, and it was like the first time in like 5, 8, 10 years or something that he could hunt. So he was like all proud about it and everything, but it was just like Brett was saying, just straight negativity, like should have let him grow another year and all this stuff. And it's like Brett said, like, dude, you don't know the backstory on that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that guy literally went through, like I said, fought cancer or did something, or his loved one passed away and haven't went in forever. And there's just he didn't care if that thing was a 115. Like that son of a bitch is like
Meant the world.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what it's about.
And I think that's one major thing through social media. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love seeing big deer. I'm sure we all do. And it's awesome. And I want to kill over a 200. Absolutely. I want to do all that and everything. But if not, dude, I don't care. It's the work. It's the hanging out with you guys. It's putting in time, and it's doing this and all that. I mean, for as, quote unquote, odd as that might sound, but I mean, that's what it is. To me, that's what it's about. Be able to go through, just like when we had our 3 turkeys and stuff, dude, the hunt was awesome. The hunt was great. Telling the story is great. But dude, the 3 of us sitting there skinning them out without Brett, because, we all know he had to go to work.
had to work.
Had to work.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. But, sitting there with your old man and sitting there talking about that, dude, I will remember that just as much as I do the actual experience of the turkey hunt.
Oh, yeah.
And especially now, since I got to know you guys, I don't have kids, but I look at it as like almost all your kids are like my kids. So it's like, if we can go through and do something with them to get them into the right train of mind, to go through, take them out, go buy the first fishing pole you've had in 15 years, take your boy out, to pass it on and stuff like that. Like I'm really starting to see, like, when parents say like, it's like, you don't understand how much more like not living through your child, but like seeing what I can give to my child and watching that. I think that's becoming more and more just for me, that's almost more of what it is.
That's like when Jesse was talking about, picking up a fishing pole again and taking his kid out. Like my dad, I wanted to go fishing. My dad, he's like, I'm not really a big fisherman. I used to fish, but I was on his ass when I was a little kid. And he finally took me out, and after my dad took me out fishing, and the very first time I went, of course, we went bluegill fishing. I caught a ton of them, hooked, and after that, it hooked my dad, and we spent the rest of my entire childhood fishing together.
Yeah,
right.
And that's he didn't really care to go, but then once he did, he got back into it, and then was ate up by it.
Yeah, it's the experience.
And fished his whole life, since. So yeah,
Because I know, like I said, I love ice fishing. Like me, that's me and my old man's thing. Like these last 2-3 years, like we've had 2 weeks like cold snap, got good and cold, and then but just between work and everything else, we couldn't go do. So we haven't went in the last few years, and dude, we're pissed. It's like that's our thing. We got a couple spots we go. You sit out there and it's just the experience. Because I mean, just like anything else, we're not guaranteed to catch anything or do anything, but we're sitting there bullshitting, giving each other a hard time. You know what I mean? And those are memories that you can't get rid of.
Oh, yeah. And it comes full circle. I mean, Chris talking about the bluegill fishing and stuff like that, when I was younger, Dad taking me hunting and stuff, he was doing the, all the scouting, hanging on the stands, doing all the roosting and this and that. Now that he's older, now it's falling kind of on my shoulders and to do more of it. And I do more of the guiding aspect with him and everything. So it's kind of gone full circle. And now that my kids are getting old enough, my oldest is actually going to try to shoot a deer this fall during youth season. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy how in, 30 years how everything's just came full circle.
But if you think about it, I'm sure it was all in a blink of an eye.
Oh, yeah.
that's the scary thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's scary.
I catch myself doing that all the time. Be sitting here and trying to think who. I'm actually girl at work. We were sitting there and talking, and I walked into her and I said, "Hey, what is your kid doing?" And she's like, What are you talking about?" I was like, "Dude, she popped up on like my Facebook feed and whatever and blah, 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 blah." And I said, I don't like this. I don't like this. This is not the little girl that I remember.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, yeah, she's 13 years old now and, beautiful young lady." And I said, "Yeah, that's my problem with it. Like, I need her to go back and be that little girl walking around and doing this and that." And I don't even know her very well, but it just, dude, I mean, just a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Dude, I got buddies, like their kids are getting ready to graduate college and shit. Dude, that just...
We're getting ready to move my daughter down to Florida, Florida Gulf Coast University, and it don't even seem possible that.
No.
It don't seem possible.
That's what I was thinking the other day. I think I was talking. I was after Carter and Anna's wedding. I was talking to Kate, and we were driving home. I told Marissa, my wife, and I was like, "It's just so weird." I said, "I remember those kids like riding a scooter around
when
in
they
their
were
garage."
yeah. When they were
And I'm like, it's just like, where did that time go? And I'm seeing that now with my daughter. She's gonna be turning 1 this week.
Yep.
And it's just like, I remember when you were born. Like, what is? It's just wild how fast
it goes quick.
What I also think is wild is that we're all sitting here talking like we're actually mature, and then, that we're not just freaking big old screw offs.
It is a Sunday, so we can kind of be a little bit
Tone
more.
it down.
Tone it down a little
Yeah.
bit. That is right. That is right. But no, I think we kind of got off track of whatever the hell we were going to talk about.
Got all sentimental.
Like we usually do.
Should we get a big group hug and then get back into the podcast?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Don't you don't touch me. I don't know where you've been these last couple days.
That's the tutu coming out again.
All right, so I know we were going to talk about that. What else were we going to talk about? I remember we.
How about like fall plots, like
Okay.
fall food plots?
Absolutely.
So I got myself into kind of a predicament of this spring of so wet, and then the times that I had to go get shit done, I couldn't make it out there, and then when I could get out there, it was wetter and shit. So as far as fall food plots, what's everybody thinking? What's in everybody's mind? Jesse, are you doing fall plots?
Oh yeah, of course. I've already got my corn planted. I got 1.5 acres of corn, and then I planted about 1.25 acres of beans, and they were looking beautiful. They were probably 6 inches tall, and I wanted to get in there one last time and spray them. Get the last little bit of weeds out there. And I don't know, there was a crossover between me and my buddy and the co-op, and they gave us the wrong spray, and I smoked the beans.
No.
Done.
They're dead.
Killed
dead, deader than a hammer. And I'm like, because he went out there and checked them. He's like, I want to look at them and see what they look like, make sure we didn't miss anything. And he calls me and says, weeds are dead, so are the beans.
Oh,
So we got on the phone and got another round in, and we've gotten maybe a tenth of rain since, and I'm like, they're not gonna grow. So it's super late on those, obviously, but we're gonna try like hell. And then we've got probably combined 2 different places. We'll plant fall plot of brassicas, and we usually throw in a winter wheat just to kind of as a filler, or just to stay green longer through the winter. There's deer on those warm ups. I don't know if you guys see this, but when it's cold, December, January, those quick warm ups, those deer are wanting some sort of green.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And they just hammer those winter wheats. So we're gonna both spots we'll toss some of that in there.
So you said you had like an acre and a half of beans and corn together? Or?
No. 1 acre or acre and a half of beans on one property, and then on my lease is about an acre and a quarter of beans.
Do you go through, because I didn't realize this, but been reading some stuff, well, watching videos, fuck you guys. And they're saying like you want to do like almost like 5-10% of like what your property is. You want to try to go through and do that into your food plots. Do you take any of that into consideration, or you just kind of say, I'm just going to do this?
I don't. I just plant basically however much I can plant and afford to put in. I just look at the, kind of the property as like an aerial map or whatever, and
Right.
kind of like, okay, a plot would go here because I can hunt this on this wind,
Yep.
and I can get in here and not disturb anything, and I should be able to sneak out. Deer should be in the plot, and I can get out of there without blowing anything out. Obviously, that doesn't happen every time, but I just kind of look at it that way, where I don't necessarily go, okay, I need 10%, because that'd be one property's pretty good size. That'd be a big ass plot. I just don't know. I just feel like sometimes bigger isn't always better.
And I was kind of going to go into that too. Is you go down these rabbit holes. With we were just talking like with social media and all this other stuff. Like you were saying, you check the aerial map, you kind of come up with your own idea. I think that's almost kind of something that's going to the wayside too. Is too many people are, so and so professional deer hunter says I got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no matter what. Instead of going through and sitting back and, like you're saying, thinking about wind, your entry, your exit, your herd, your area, your this and that, because not everything is for what's for me is not for Chris. That's just flat out. You got to go through and get this all figured out, because
I think these micro plots, smaller plots, more of those instead of having one big plot. I think that's because you can set those up in so many different areas. And with the wind, with the staging, especially in the evening, like I feel like, how them big bucks, like you get a bunch of does and small bucks come out in the field, but then those big ones, it seems like it's always that last 10 minutes of light when they want to step out. If you can have a staging area that's more secluded to where they're like, okay, we'll step in here, hang out, and then we'll go out. I feel like those are huge. Like if you could have a bunch of those, it'd be great. It's tougher, a lot of work. You got to go and do clearing if you don't have the spots to do it. But I think that would pay off way better than just having one giant food plot.
Another thing I went through with my food plots too is instead of, they're not big by any means, but instead of having it be like one great big one like you were saying, I went through and I left like some CRP strips like in the middle of them and everything, because I've noticed sometimes that like you'll get these bucks, does, whatever, deer in general, that they want to come out like you're kind of saying, but if they'll go down that strip, and then when they come out that 2-3 steps or whatever, they're, instead of being on the back side, 60, 70, 80, 100 yards down the way, they'll come through and walk that strip, and I'll kind of put that strip almost within bow range, shotgun range, and everything. So when they take those 2 steps out where they feel comfortable because they just came out of the CRP and whatever, like they're those couple steps there, right there, instead of like you're saying, this huge plot, and you're like, oh, dude, all he's got to do is come another 175 yards, and then I can think about maybe shooting him.
Well, and you can turn a bigger plot too into more of a micro plot. Like you can set them up different ways. So, like what I do for my plots is I base it basically on the property, how I'm going to hunt it, when I'm going to hunt it the most, and just knowing my deer herd. So I've got different farms and different parts of farms where I plant smaller plots that I know is a little bit better earlier in the season. So we're talking like maybe the 3rd, 4th week of October, 1st week of November. That's where those micro plots are going. And those plots are going as close to bed as possible. And I'm planting those plots to where I can use the terrain to get in and out. And I'm within 125 to 150 yards or maybe even closer of that deer when he's bedded. And then come, 4:30, as the sun's setting and he decides to get up, all he's got to do is get up out of his bed, come 100 yards or less, and he's in the plot.
Right.
And a lot of time he's in bow range. So that's what I tend to do there. But then I also like to set some spots up further away from bed for the late season, just because you've lost all the foliage. You can't get in tight on those deer when they're bedded.
Right.
So you back off with those bigger plots. But even then, you can utilize those bigger plots earlier in the season if you break them up a little bit. Put a boundary in there somehow to where those deer, they can't come out and see the whole thing. If you put a boundary in there, he's got to come through that boundary. It might take him a few extra minutes compared to an actual micro plot backed right up to the bedding. But more than likely, you're still going to have him in there in legal light.
What are you doing for boundaries? Like hinge cutting, just letting CRP grow? You can do
anything to where he's got to make himself come through to see that other end of the field.
And which I'll let him talk about it, but he brought up a super cool idea to me, and these hybrid willows. And we talked, and you can go ahead and go into it. Like we talked about this idea to do with these because they grow 6 foot a year.
Yeah, 6 to 8 feet a year.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Like,
and they're cheap.
There's some hog barns around that they kind of do it as like a windbreak and kind of conceal them a little bit from the road and stuff like that.
Exactly what you're talking about.
And I mean, those hog barns aren't very old, and you see those hybrid willows there. Like I just went by some the other day. Those hog barns are maybe, 10, 15 years old now, and those freaking trees are like 80 feet tall. Jeez. And they are just thick from top to bottom.
Right. Are they? I know some people sometimes get concerned. Like, are they going to be intrusive or anything?
We looked it up.
So it's
no, they're not invasive at all.
So you're not going to have like your whole field full of 80-foot trees and you got to keep cutting them back or anything.
Nope.
And
that's awesome.
like we were talking, like miscanthus is awesome for breaks, but we were talking price wise to do these hybrid willows because deer love willow trees. We all know that they love them. They're ate up by them, but the price compared to doing miscanthus, it's a fraction of the cost.
What's miscanthus? I never even heard of
It's that big grass it's like a grass that grows up like 8 foot tall.
I got you. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
It's but it's expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive. It's a pain in the ass to put in. It's a bitch to put in. Actually, one of my buddies just bought a machine that.
Yeah, you got to have a special planter or a trench or something to make that trench to drop those rhizomes in.
Yeah. And then, if you do it right and do it, you space them out every 24 inches, and then you come back on your next row and 6 inches, come back your next row 6 inches. And they say that 3 rows is usually good enough to make a screen, but it probably takes 5, 4 to 5 to make a good screen. And
it takes a few years for it to mature to even get to what you want.
Yeah. But I think we looked these willows up, and they are cheaper than shit.
Mm-hmm. For now, till now you just spilled the secret, and everybody's going to go through and want them, and now,
hybrid willows are going to go up to $100.
Exactly. Make sure you go through and buy them from the Hunted Podcast. We got hybrid willows for sale.
Yeah. We're going to do a pre-order for the hybrid willow.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
I've seen. I don't know if this is true, and I've seen some videos. I think it was the Midwest Whitetail guys. They've gone and like cut sprigs off of them and planted the sprig, and they've grown.
Yeah.
So they're even cheaper that way. Just take a little,
Yep.
take a little time.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's actually, I think it was just for cedars or pines or whatever. A lot of people will do that, and they'll wait for them to get to a certain 2-3 feet or whatever, and they just replant them all over.
Well, and a lot of people don't know too that Illinois has a pretty good program through, I believe it's like the Mason County Nursery down there east of Havana. And during their ordering process, I mean, you can order trees, pretty much anything you want, like hardwoods, some of the fruit-bearing trees, not necessarily cedars, but the white pines and stuff like that. I mean, you can get those trees for pennies on the dollar.
Nice.
So if you're looking to do some habitat work, I mean, hybrid willows or that tree order program through them is something I'd look into.
That's what I've been wanting to do is between my plot and the big field on that west side, I want to do just trees all the way through that. So, it, because that road's right there. It's not a main highway or nothing. It's just a little gravel road. But I still like, and that's where my big food plot is, and I want to keep the deer kind of comfortable in there and secure, and so people can't like see them from the road and stop and look and pressure them. So that's what I've been wanting to do is do like a pine. So I might do that willow idea. That's a really good idea.
Because in 2 years you're set up.
Right.
I mean,
So make sure you call Chris and Levi so they can show you how to do it.
Okay.
You just sit back, watch, and let them dig the holes.
Like let me
put them in.
Show me how you.
Yeah, exactly. Show me how to do it because I'm sorry, but that shovel that I have it doesn't fit my hand right. Fits your hand perfectly.
You're not digging holes with a shovel. I mean, these things are big around as your finger. You're just poking holes and.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a little chute. You just boom, stick them in the ground, and
Just spit on it and smash it in there, huh?
But you'll still have
you got to give it the hawk too.
The hawk too. Okay, so as always, we always get off track. So we're going to take a pause here. All right, we got more sponsors coming your way. We're at Hex. If you guys listen to us at all, we go through and we preach up Hex. It is a great product. I'll be the first one to admit over and over and over that I was kind of a little about it and stuff. But you go through, get this stuff, you will 100% go through and get in situations and you're just kind of like, oh shit, like that there's no way that would have happened if I didn't have this stuff on. I'm not saying that, deer are going to come walking in 2 inches away from you all the time, but it seems like when they do kind of notice you or whatever and they go away, they're not spooked. They're just, it's more of like a, I don't know, and they just kind of wander off. I've yet to have one blow at me, throw its tail up, and take off since I've been wearing this stuff. They just kind of know something's not right. And
For me, they just come in and just want to attack you. But
well, yeah, you do, yeah, because you sit out there in your brown sweatshirt all puffed up, ready to go. I don't know why you buy stuff. You should just get out there and just walk around. And
I'm just going to cover myself in a deer hide and sit out there.
There you go.
Yeah, Levi's pretty much like an Indian in the woods.
And then we got Wild Oak Whitetails Buck Lure. Go through, get a hold of Corey. Haven't talked to him for a little bit, but I'm sure here before too long he's going to start, getting his deer all pinned in and everything. Start getting some fresh deer pee out and everything. It's always $1, 1 bottle. I know I've said this before, but it's still just odd to me that I can say that I have a friend that knows a whole bunch about pee. It's just weird to me. And then we got Marath Welding. Go through, get a hold of him if you want anything welded together, small jobs, big jobs. He's always busy, so you got to go through and get a hold of him at least with some advance time notice. He dabbles and I don't even know almost anything, so go ahead and get a hold of him. And then, thanks to Jesse, we got Antleridge, who we're happy to have on board with us now and everything. Go through, get a hold of Jesse, like he said earlier. He can go through and do special patches and all this stuff and everything, and that kind of seems to be.
We need to post these hats after this episode.
You haven't seen me over here with my phone taking pictures. You guys.
I
are
thought you were taking selfies of yourself.
I'm not that good looking. But yeah, no, absolutely. Yep, we'll go through, get some pictures up, show you guys. I mean, these are good hats. We're very happy to have him and everything. Seems to be, I don't want to use the word fad, but it kind of seems like that's kind of where everybody's going through and stuff like this. But I mean, they're good, sharp, real good looking hats. And like I said, we are very happy to have him on board with us. Okay, back into it. So then I only have a couple more. So hopefully if I forget, it's only going to be for But where are we talking about fall plots and the walls and all that good
Well, I
stuff?
kind of want to hit on something too, going back to like Jesse was talking about his beans getting smoked, and now that they've replanted, it's later, hasn't, really gotten much rain. If we do get some moisture, they still may take off, but they're not going to put the tonnage on like they would have before. So I guess, what do you do in that aspect when something like that happens? And even when I do have beans that make good tonnage on them, that have good forage, as soon as they start defoliating, I go in top dress them with cereal grains. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, it just adds so much more attraction to that. Like Jesse was saying, you know, with the warm fronts, you know, say you've got 3, 4, 5 days after a cold front or a snowstorm, and then you get that first day, bluebird sky, high pressure, you know, temperature might be up 40, 45 degrees. I mean, it's going to be full. So,
And those beans he planted late will stay green longer.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
that does happen, they go
you're-
hit those greens.
Those
you're getting
deer,
that early season attraction.
those deer are going to go hit the other beans first,
Right.
and then those late beans, they're going to last a lot longer. You're going to get more out of them. And then, like we've been doing, got that leaf blower attachment
Yeah.
with the hopper.
Yep.
We go out and blow rye. We do rye every year.
Yeah.
Just walk
Yeah.
out in the beans or the corn, just blow rye all over the place.
Hold on, one more time. You do what? You just blow rye?
Blow rye.
All over the
Blow rye
place.
all over the place.
All over
Yep.
the place.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know who Rye is, but he sounds like a lucky guy.
I usually hang out with them every fall. Pretty good, dude.
But I heard too about ryegrass. It's like a natural herbicide, and it chokes out like when a lot of farmers do that for cover crop because it chokes out all the weeds. And
Yep.
I just learned that this year. I was talking to one of the growers, and he's like, "Yeah, I use rye for a cover crop." He's like, "All I got to do is go in and burn it down and then disc it." He's like, "I'm good to go."
Yeah, Scharfenbergs do all rye cover crops, and then actually this year they harvested, what the hell was it, 40?
Yeah.
45 acres, I think, of rye. They harvested because they would go to Wisconsin and buy it,
Right.
a semi truck full. This year they're like, we're growing it, we might as well harvest it.
Yeah.
So they harvested like 45 acres of it. And
Super good
you-
weed control. Mine's probably 3 foot tall. I haven't sprayed it. No, there's no weeds in it.
No.
Like
And-
you,
It's like clover. And
and
clover's like that too. But
that shit, if you spray it in the, you know, them deer come out, and if it's that 2 or 3 inches,
It's
they come
super-
out and their mouth never quit going.
no, it's
They just-
super tender.
hammer it.
We plant it late
Yeah.
just because of that. Because
Yeah.
like that first couple of weeks of October, if it's 2-3 inches tall, then deer just they smoke it.
They love it.
well, going back and, you know, talking about using it as a cover crop too, like AJ and I were talking about, like Coldipacker and stuff, going through and basically turn it into a crimper. You know, I'm starting to see that a lot, you know, especially in like Missouri, eastern Kansas. A lot of guys are putting rye in as a cover crop. And then instead of going and killing it off and disking it or whatever, a lot of times you can, depending if the stand isn't that thick, you can just, you know, no-till right into it. But they're actually going through and crimping it, knocking it over, crimping it, and then planting right into it. That way you really holding that moisture tight to the ground.
Yeah, and I dabbled with that a little bit last year. I did mine, and I went through, cleared it all out like you're supposed to, disc it all up. Dude, I mean, I tried to pull every blade of grass out that it was, so it was just nothing but dirt. And then I went through to one of Evan's places after I watched these videos, like you're saying, they go through, you colder pack it over, laying it over and stuff like this. Well, last year about this time, dude, we were pretty dry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just the difference between my place, I mean, it grew, but it was nowhere near to how it was out at Evan's place. I'd go out there and pick up, excuse me, I'd pick up all that I crimped over or cold packed it over and everything. Dude, I mean, it's wet. It was wet down there. And then they go through and they say that it also keeps like the birds out, the turkeys, the wind and everything else. You just got to get it underneath everything. It's just like one humongous awning over top of it.
Yep.
So I did that out of my place this year. And I mean, yes, we've had the rain and the this and the that and everything. But I mean, dude, I'm beyond surprised on how, I mean, dude, it seems like all of it is just exploding.
Well, and if it turns off dry, you're still going to hold that moisture in there
Yeah,
that you got.
that's what I noticed out at Evans because I was like, man, I'm just curiosity. It ain't my place. If I go out there and fuck it up, who cares? So I went out there and I walked in like 3-4 different spots up on the hillside a little bit, down on the bottoms and everything. I mean, dude, you pick it up and I mean, it was legitimately, it was still wet underneath there after not having rain for weeks.
It's just like the beans and the corn. Once they get tall enough, canopy,
Yep.
cover all the rows.
Yep.
I mean, the moisture is just always there.
Yeah. But yeah, I already talked to Evan about that. We're going to hopefully go through and get something to go through and crimp those and everything. And I think I'm excited because, and a lot of people are going through and they're saying, because you don't have to spray herbicides if you go through and you plant it right.
Right.
You just literally crimp it. It just like snaps it off and somehow it just
dead.
dead, absolutely dead.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of neat on itself. I mean, I'm not a tree hugger by any means, but if the less crap I can go through and put out in the ground and have it flow into the,
And that chemical isn't cheap.
No.
I mean, when you get,
oh yeah.
because I got that boom sprayer on my side by side now, and I'm just buying a bunch of different chemicals, and I'm just like, just keeps adding up, adding up. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, I'm getting.
Oh, it's
in.
expensive.
Yeah.
Then you go into some of these places where, everything's really tall and you're going in, you're doing your first burn down on it and you're putting it on hot.
Yeah.
It gets expensive in
Yeah.
a hurry.
Yeah, so if I go through and get that, you just let me know about how much it costs you to go through and burn all that stuff off through chemical, and I'll take $10 cheaper than that, and I'll let you buy my stuff.
Yeah.
What an awesome guy.
Yeah, super good dude.
Man.
Oh, but yeah, so I'm kind of going to do like everybody else is going to go through, wait till that stuff starts getting a little taller and this and that, and go through it and throw out some, brassicas, some turnips, and probably some wheat and stuff like this. I was kind of thinking about it and stuff, but from the way you guys are talking with throwing some wheat and stuff out there, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, cereal grains definitely help.
Yeah, like rye. You just all you do is just throw it on top of the ground, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
It's cheap.
My-
If it doesn't grow, you're not out anything.
No.
No,
But it'll
like-
grow.
we did a whole big area on the other side of the road here last year, and my brother-in-law had a guy that helps him farm. He went in that field this spring. He called him up. He's like, "Man, can I drive through this field?" He's like, "There's some kind of bluegrass," or he goes, "It's beautiful." And Dirk called me. He's like, "You got something planted down there?" And I was like, "That's that rye I put out last year." Well, last fall it was 3-4 inches, and in the spring it was 3 foot tall, and it was beautiful. Like it all came up back again this spring and looked awesome. But it's easy, just leaf blower and blow it in the field.
Yeah, because that's what you got. Yeah, you got that
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah, it's super easy. You can do so many acres in no time at all.
Oh yeah.
You almost had that problem. It was we were going through, and Levi was trying to figure it out. I was like, well, I think I got to do this gauge and this and that. Dude turned it on. It was just like all that seed, just all like smoke just came out. Woof, and he's like, oh, shit, off.
It was like $20 worth of seed out in like 0.3 seconds.
Yeah.
Had it with two open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yep.
But last year I had a late plot that I went in, and actually there was some washouts there and stuff, and the farmer went in and he just mowed everything off. Well, we had a little bit of moisture that they were calling for in the forecast, and it was bone dry, and I had the extra seed. I had a bunch of radish seed, so I went in there with that blower, and I blew like 2.5 acres of radish seed in 20 minutes. So
Yeah.
it goes quick.
It's easier too. I see I think Hooman, however, they make an electric one now.
Hooyman, yeah.
But dude, you don't realize like how much actually effort it is to sit there and crank. Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude! I did that last year in a couple places, and my arms about ready to fall off. Dude, I went home and grabbed like some drills and set them like super low setting. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna see if I can't find out a way to go through and do this." And I was still too busy.
Well, then I got one of those walk behind ones too, and like if your ground's not
Oh yeah.
worked good, you're sitting there just bouncing around. And it's like,
yeah.
well, this is stupid too. But
And then if
I'm
you're
saying
not,
the leaf blowers, that's the route to go, no matter what. If you're broadcasting anything,
Yeah, for rye or winter wheat,
Yeah.
and radishes, shit like that, you can get away with that.
which I've
for sure.
thrown, which I've just done it by hand. I've got a buddy who's like 6'6", so I let him do it. But I had standing corn one year, and we had turnips, and I let him just go in and just start tossing turnips, and that shit came in good between
Yep.
the rows of that corn. It was just insane.
Yeah, because it's all them, everything. Once that seed gets to the ground, that corn's up. Any moisture, it's just holding it right there.
And it was
so-
in the bottom, and then
Yeah.
always had moisture down there.
It's
I'm like,
perfect.
I had like, believe it or not, I was like almost a volleyball size freaking turnips. I'm like, holy shit.
Yep.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
but is that what I think me and you've talked about this before too. But
Yeah, you don't want them to get too big.
No.
Yeah.
They didn't touch them, the big ones. They did not like
but they were
They'll
impressive.
eat the
They were
tops.
cool, yeah.
they ate the tops off, but that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you walk down, I'm like, man, I could enter this into a state fair. Man. Like, shit.
Yeah, the deer didn't like him, but hell, they
good for
were badass.
They look great in the pictures.
Yeah.
Good for a Snapchat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, another break. I'm going to knock out these last few. Okay, whoop, whoop, whoop. Come on, fingers, work here. All right. So then our last sponsors that we have here is Nature Made Jewelry. Levi goes through and makes some pretty beautiful, little, wonderful, amazing, sparkling Pieces of jewelry out of old antlers and stuff like this. Rings, necklaces, anything else special you go through and do with those? I mean, just
Pretty much bracelets.
bracelets and everything.
Yeah.
They do.
We can do about anything.
They are pretty neat. I went through and you got one for Danielle and stuff, and I mean I don't know how to they're like country fancy, I guess is about the best way I can put it. So they're pretty neat with that. And then go through, if you're looking for land or have any land questions, we got National Land Realty. Levi does that. He's been hitting it good and hard here before too long. You just went through and you just put up a place here last week, right?
Yeah. Just got a new listing this past week. Got everything going on it. Pictures taken, all that good stuff. So 98.43 acres, Warren County, Illinois. Prime farm ground. You could actually maybe shoot a few deer on it too. So.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about that for a while. It's definitely, there's a little, what do you want to call, corner, back area? I mean, something like this, good tucked away.
Got a little creek running through it and a couple little draws, and you can definitely shoot some deer in there too.
So, anything interested like that, especially in Warren County, get a hold of Levi, and he will do his absolute best to get you hooked up with all that. And then finally, we got McKee Automotive. Go through, make sure you get a hold of Dustin. We kind of laughed and made jokes last time, but he really would if you wanted to go through and get one of those little like RC cars for your kid and put 20s on there with a custom made exhaust or whatever you want done. He'll do that. Or he does everything from basic oil changes, tire rotations. I think he does. I don't know. Just go ahead, get a hold of Dustin, and he'll go through and let you know and absolutely get you hooked up. I know that there's always cars in front of his house, in his driveway, in and out. So, I mean, he's busy and all that stuff. I know that some places go through now and they're allowing more of like golf carts and things like that out on the streets. He goes through, and I know he did one for my parents, and he just got done doing one for himself. He goes through, gets them fixed up, makes them kind of unique, special to you and all that. So like I said, he dabbles in a little bit of everything, so make sure you go and check him out. All right, finally, boom, sponsors are done. So
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
So, okay, anything else we want to touch on with the fall plots or anything before we get into it? Anything else? No?
When's everybody gonna start hunting?
No cream? Cream?
October 1st? Anybody hunting October 1st?
You are.
If it's cold.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yes,
Well,
you are. Yeah,
yeah,
you're taking that damn tutu, and you absolutely are.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're getting nothing but selfies from the stand all day with you wearing that thing.
all day hunt.
All day.
Doing an all day hunt. Yep.
Just sweating so bad you can't even keep it on there because it's going to be down to your ankles.
I used to be a big October 1st hunter. I mean, you remember that you'd always tell you, like, when I was like, why'd you go out? Dude, it was 94 degrees. I'm like, it's opening day. I had to be out there.
By the time November got here, Curry'd already been out to his farm 73 times hunting. He's like, dude, I ain't seeing shit. I'm like, you've already hunted 73 times before
The same
rut,
stand every day.
Every day. I didn't even check the wind. I just went in
I was
there.
like, you hunting the wind? He's
Hammer.
like, oh, absolutely not.
Just hammer pissed it.
Yeah, I was hunting in the wind. I mean, yeah.
Oh, I used to chew your ass so much back in the day. I'm like, dude, if you would just listen to me, I'm going to. And then next day he's right back out hunting again.
Well, there's a difference between listening and hearing.
Yeah, I listened.
Well,
He listened to everything you said. He
Absorb
just-
it.
Yeah.
I tell my wife that all the time. Like, I was listening to you. I just don't remember what you said.
But no, I'm with Brett. October 1st, unless it's something spectacular coming
Right.
through, dude, I'm way more of just sitting back and waiting. Levi got that pounded into my fucking brain, especially last year, even though I didn't go very often, dude, I saw a lot more deer than I have
Oh, yeah.
for a while.
I mean, if the weather's right, I'll go out there and pound a couple does, but
Right.
other than that, I don't get too itchy.
Yeah.
I got like early season spots too, where it's like a quick in, quick out,
Oh, yeah.
where I'm not like going through bedding areas,
Right.
going through food sources, and I've got a couple spots where it's just you park the truck, you walk in 100 yards, you're in your stand, you walk out. You can only do it on a north wind. You can't do anything else.
Yep.
So that's like my early season spot.
Just to try to get that
Just-
itchy
That,
thumb
just
taken
kinda-
care of.
And just kind of see, like, if I don't have a camera in that spot or something, if I'm seeing deer coming in through a corner, just kind of like a scouting mission.
Gotcha.
But I will pop a doe if need be, and one comes in. I'm not going to hesitate.
Absolutely.
We went through all our pictures from the last 8 years out here. And from like the 15th of October, of course still November, but from the 15th to the 1st of November, we had more daylight pictures of our shooter deer on this farm than any time. and we usually stay out unless, we'll hunt a couple times, but we started looking back, we're like, why in the fuck ain't we hunting in October? I mean, we need to hunt more in October, like over here for sure, because it seems like wherever our deer are summering at, they all come back and start setting up everything, and then so many daytime pictures, and we're not hunting.
Well, I think something that kind of goes back to like the social media and everything is that's all you see all the time is everybody going, dude, like, don't even waste your time in October. You got to wait till the rut, or super late season and this and that. Well, now I'm kind of noticing that it's kind of turning the other way. There is more people saying, oh, man, you got to hunt October.
Dude, that third week of October is freaking magical, especially if you can get the right weather.
And that moon, that moon phase in the third week of October, it could be maybe one of the best times to hunt all season.
But I think it goes back to like, Brett was kind of saying, like, if you do go early, scout, see what's going on, see if you can't get it figured out. Check your trail cameras because, like I said earlier, your place is not my place, so your deer aren't doing what my deer's doing. And we all know that, they might be on your property the first part of till X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden they leave and they're moving to this, they're moving to that, moving to food, cold snaps, heat snaps, and all that stuff. So, I mean,
that first, 2-3 week stretch of October, I mean, those deer are coming off of summer patterns. They're changing food sources. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on right there. And then things don't start kind of leveling out with them until, third, fourth week of October. Now they're on a steady food source. They're starting to hit scrapes and rubs more, stuff. They're starting to put a pattern down a little bit better where there's just, it seems like early, there's just so much going on with, you've got, I mean, hell, we've seen first week of October where it's been almost 100 degrees. So, you might have heat as a factor. Then you've got them, splitting up as a factor. Then you've got changing food sources as a factor. And there's just a lot going on right there to try to shoot a big one like the first 2 weeks. It's hard unless you can really get them pinned down.
Yeah, which comes down to, if you got
scout more than you hunt.
Exactly. Yep. This and that, watch your cameras, watch from afar.
Yeah,
talk to neighbors.
Looking up there, that was October 17th and 15.
Oh, yeah.
So that morning, and that camera was less than 100 yards off the road over here. He came in, and we had 44 minutes he stood in front of that camera, in front of that Browning, and took 80 million pictures. He's came in and just put on a show.
Right.
For 44 minutes, we had pictures of him. He never moved out of that spot.
I'd be interested. What does it say there for the
27
degrees?
Yep, and 7:28 in the morning.
Right. So that's what I'm. So that's whatever. It was cold snap, this and that.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So that's. I'm learning a bunch from you fellers going through, and just figuring things out. Like you guys are saying, moon phases, weather, blah blah blah, pressure, wind direction.
Well, like you were talking about the moon guide there a little bit. You threw something out about that. Adam Hayes, the guy behind the moon guide, he's shot so many big deer, and a lot of those big deer he's killed has been that third going into that fourth week of October. And that's, other than late season, I think that's the best time to kill your giant deer. I mean, you're going to get lucky and shoot one here and there during the rut, but if you really want to kill that giant and you're not killing him with his belly late season, you're going to kill him that third going into fourth week of October.
Well, you better be right, because
that's
the time when I put
the blood moon in October. Yeah.
Yeah, you better be right, because that's about the time I put in for my vacation. So, if not, I'm coming to your place. You know what? Fuck it, I'm going down there anyway. You can't be at all of them at the same time.
That's right.
I'll be out there in my swing, just swinging back and forth in my saddle.
Hey, if you're seeing deer, you're not swinging, damn it.
AJ's gonna walk in and be like, "Fuck, Donovan's sitting in my stand in his tutu."
That's fine. You better be in a double. I'll sit up there with you.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, they're Levi's deer. We don't care what happens out there.
I think you guys should both be in a saddle. One wearing the tutu and just swinging back and forth like little kids at a playground.
Oh yeah,
that look good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would really.
AJ pushing you.
Jesse, any thoughts with any
Nope.
with the October of any
No
kind?
thoughts. The only thing that Levi said something about the best time to kill a big deer is early and late, third week of October and later. I think that just depends on your property.
Yeah.
If you've got a good funnel or something where it's like, it could be slow early October and then you don't have any food, that best time is definitely November, where they're going to get cruising from bedding area to bedding area, and all you're sitting in is a draw in the middle of nowhere, and
Yep.
it's just a good funnel. It just sucks them in there. So it just property dependent. I've got properties where I could kill deer early, and then I've got properties where it's the best time is November. That's basically the only time they're in there. So.
Right.
Yep.
Which
Yeah, you can get them during rut, and then after that, you're
it's-
done.
Yeah. Well, luckily I'm smart enough to have food on those, but there's some people that don't have access to a tractor and can't do that, or don't have the time to do it, or want to.
yeah, I definitely know people that are like, man, piss on that, dude. I'm going to keep doing this and this and this because I kill deer every year. But then usually they're the first people that go, man, this is bullshit. These people over here, they must be nice people. It must be nice that they get to go through and kill all these deers and this and that. It's like, dude, you know how much that deer is actually worth?
Right.
Like
Time,
not just
effort.
not through the process and stuff, but yeah, time, effort, equipment bought. Freaking knocking on doors. Begging friends to come over and help. Spray, killing your beans, replanting your beans.
The most expensive thing is AA batteries.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We just figured up the other day. So we got 21 reveals, and then are just Brownings and other cameras put up. It's 394 batteries for our cameras.
That's just insane.
And then the monthly subscription to the
Yeah.
videos is $5
So,
or $10.
394
Yeah,
batteries. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. But it's all right. You got that Donovan money.
Yeah.
No, it's split up between a bunch of guys, not me.
Cheap bastard. Cheap bastard. I thought you were a better man than that. So, well, we're well over an hour. Is there anything else we want to add on before we tell Jesse thank you and slap him on his ass and send him on his way?
Hey, I do appreciate the hats,
Yeah.
man.
Yes,
They're awesome.
we really
They
do.
look badass.
It's all, yeah. So make sure you guys go through and check Jesse out. I'm sure, like he said, he'll go through. If you give him ideas, he'll go through, work it out, get y'all hooked up. So yeah. So if we don't have anything, gentlemen, we're going to close this one off. All right.
Been good?
Yep.
Awesome. So thank you so much for listening. If you haven't listened to any of our previous ones, make sure you go listen to those. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook and all that stuff. Go through, follow our sponsors. Let them know that you found them through us. We greatly appreciate that. And we will catch you on the next one.